Welcome back to Fireside with Kenwaii. Tonight we'll be reading yet another tale right out of Grimm's Fairy Tales. And tonight's story is called The Wonderful Musician. Shall we? The Wonderful Musician. There was once a wonderful musician who went quite alone through a forest and thought of all manner of things. And when nothing was left for him to think about, he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch a good companion for myself." Then he took his fiddle from his back and played so that it echoed through the trees. It was not long before a wolf came trotting through the thicket towards him. "Ah, here is a wolf coming. I have no desire for him," said the musician, but the wolf came nearer and said to him, "Ah, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too." "It is soon learned," the musician replied, "only you have to do all that I bid you." "O musician," said the wolf, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." The musician had him follow, and when they had gone part of the way together, they came to an old oak tree which was hollow inside and cleft in the middle. "Look," said the musician, "if you will learn the fiddle, put your forepaws into the crevice." The wolf obeyed, but the musician quickly picked up a stone and with one blow wedged his two paws so fast that he was forced to stay there like a prisoner. "Stay there until I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. After a while, he again said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion," and took his fiddle and played again in the forest. It was not long before a fox came creeping through the trees toward him. "Ah, there's a fox coming," said the musician. "I have no desire for him." The fox came up to him and said, "Oh, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too." "That is soon learned," said the musician. "You have only to do everything that I bid you." "Oh, musician," said the fox, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." "Follow me," said the musician, and when they had walked part of the way, they came to a footpath with high bushes on both sides of it. There the musician stood still, and from one side bent a young hazel bush down to the ground, and put his foot on the top of it. Then he bent down a young tree from the other side as well, and said, "Now, little fox, if you will learn something, give me your left front paw." The fox obeyed, and the musician fastened his paw to the left bow. "Little fox," said he, "now reach me your right paw," and he tied it to the right bow. When he had examined whether they were firm enough, he let go, and the bushes sprang up and jerked up the little fox so that it hung struggling in the air. "Wait there till I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. Again he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion." So he took his fiddle, and the sound echoed through the forest. Then a little hare came springing towards him. "Why, a hare is coming," said the musician. "I do not want him." "Ah, dear musician," said the hare, "how beautifully you do fiddle. I, too, should like to learn that." "That is soon learned," said the musician. "You have only to do everything that I bid you." "Oh, musician," replied the little hare, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." They went a part of the way together until they came to an open space in the forest where stood an aspen tree. The musician tied a long string around the little hare's neck, the other end of which he fastened to the tree. "Now briskly, little hare, run 20 times around the tree," cried the musician, and the little hare obeyed. And when it had run around 20 times, it had twisted the string 20 times around the trunk of the tree, and the little hare was caught, and let it pull and tug as it liked. It only made the string cut into its tender neck. "Wait there until I come back," said the musician, and went onwards. The wolf, in the meantime, had pushed and pulled and bitten at the stone, and had worked so long that he had set his feet free and had drawn them once more out of the cleft. Full of anger and rage, he hurried after the musician and wanted to tear him to pieces. When the fox saw him running, he began to lament and cried with all his might, "Brother Wolf, come to my help, the musician has betrayed me." The wolf drew down the little tree, bit the cord in two, and freed the fox, who went with him to take revenge on the musician. They found the tied-up hare, whom likewise they released, and then they all sought the enemy together. The musician had once more played his fiddle as he went on his way, and this time he had been more fortunate, The sound reached the ears of a poor woodcutter who instantly, without a thought, gave up his work and came with his hatchet under his arm to listen to the music. "At last comes the right companion," said the musician, "for I was seeking a human being and no wild beast." And he began and played so beautifully and delightfully that the poor man stood there as if bewitched, and his heart leapt with gladness. And as he thus stood, the wolf, the fox, and the hare came up, and he saw well that they had some evil design. So he raised his glittering axe and placed himself before the musician as if to say, "Whoever wishes to touch him, let him beware, or he will have to deal with me." Then the beasts were terrified and ran back into the forest. The musician, however, played once more to the man out of gratitude, and then went onwards. Wow. I was expecting things to get a little more grim than they got. I'm surprised the musician made it out of that one without getting what felt maybe just to those poor wild beasts. Once again, Brothers Grimm, you're doing your namesake. Proud of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight by the fireside. If you enjoyed your stay, please subscribe, like, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite part of the story was or what stories you might like to hear me read sometime. Right now, I'm trying to stick to things that are in the copyright-free zone, but you never know. Someday, we might get to read some of the more current and fun stories too. If you're listening to this on any of the podcast services, be sure to leave a follow so that you'll be notified the next time an episode goes live. Thanks again for joining me. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.